Hello everyone, welcome back to our enchanted corner of the internet, where tales come alive and imagination runs wild. I'm Alauddin, or Aladdin, and I'm thrilled to have you join me today for another captivating adventure filled with wonderful narratives. On this channel, I read stories for your listening pleasure, whether you're curled up cozily in bed, commuting through bustling city streets, or simply seeking a moment of respite. You've come to the right place. Today I'll be reading you 10 short stories from the Zen Buddhist traditions. Many religions, like Buddhism, use narratives to teach lessons to their adherents, with the goal of enriching their lives and their understanding of the world around them. Some of these stories might require you to re-listen to them to ponder their meaning, and others are pretty easy to understand. I'd like to gently remind you to poke that like button before we embark on our journey. Now sit back and relax. Welcome to Storytime with Aladdin. Working very hard. A martial arts student went to his teacher and said earnestly, "I am devoted to studying your martial system. How long will it take me to master it?" The teacher's reply was casual. 10 years. Impatiently, the student answered, "But I want to master it faster than that. I will work very hard. I will practice every day, 10 or more hours a day if I have to. How long will it take then?" The teacher thought for a moment. 20 years. The moon cannot be stolen. Ryokan, a Zen master, lived the simplest kind of life in a little hut at the foot of a mountain. One evening, a thief visited the hut only to discover there was nothing in it to steal. Ryokan returned and caught him. "You may have come a long way to visit me," he told the prowler, "and you should not return empty-handed. Please take my clothes as a gift." The thief was bewildered. He took the clothes and slunk away. Ryokan sat unclothed, watching the moon. "Poor fellow," he mused. "I wish I could give him this beautiful moon." A cup of tea. Nanin, a Japanese master during the Meiji era, received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nanin served tea. He poured his visitor's cup full and then kept on pouring. The professor watched the overflow until he no longer could restrain himself. "It is overfull. No more will go in." "Like this cup," Nanin said. "You are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" The Gates of Paradise. A soldier named Nobushige came to Hakuin and asked, "Is there really a paradise and a hell?" "Who are you?" inquired Hakuin. "I am a samurai," the warrior replied. "You? A soldier?" exclaimed Hakuin. "What kind of ruler would have you as his guard? Your face looks like that of a beggar." Nobushige became so angry that he began to draw his sword, but Hakuin continued, "So you have a sword? Your weapon is probably much too dull to cut off my head." As Nobushige drew his sword, Hakuin remarked, "Here open the gates of hell." At these words, the samurai, perceiving the master's discipline, sheathed his sword and bowed. "Here open the gates of paradise," said Hakuin. The other side. One day, a young Buddhist on his journey home came to the banks of a wide river. Staring hopelessly at the great obstacle in front of him, he pondered for hours on just how to cross such a wide barrier. Just as he was about to give up his pursuit to continue his journey, he saw a great teacher on the other side of the river. The young Buddhist yells over to the teacher, "Oh, wise one, can you tell me how to get to the other side of this river?" The teacher ponders for a moment, looks up and down the river, and yells back, "My son, you are on the other side." Time to die. Ikkyu, the Zen master, was very clever even as a boy. His teacher had a precious teacup, a rare antique. Ikkyu happened to break this cup and was greatly perplexed. Hearing the footsteps of his teacher, he held the pieces of the cup behind him. When the master appeared, Ikkyu asked, "Why do people have to die?" "This is natural," explained the older man. "Everything has to die and has just so long to live." Ikkyu, producing the shattered cup, added, "It was time for your cup to die." A useless life. Before I read this story, I'd like to warn you that it mentions a character intending to physically harm another. It's not particularly disturbing, but I wanted to give you a heads up, and don't worry, everything turns out fine at the end. If you wish to skip forward, skip to this timestamp. A farmer got so old that he couldn't work the fields anymore, so he would spend the day just sitting on the porch. His son, still working the farm, would look up from time to time and see his father sitting there. "He's of no use anymore," the son thought to himself. "He doesn't do anything." One day, the son got so frustrated by this that he built a wood coffin, dragged it over to the porch, and told his father to get in. Without saying anything, the father climbed inside. After closing the lid, the son dragged the coffin to the edge of the farm where there was a high cliff. As he approached the drop, he heard a light tapping on the lid from inside the coffin. He opened it up. Still lying there peacefully, the father looked up at his son. "I know you are going to throw me over the cliff, but before you do, may I suggest something?" "What is it?" replied the son. "Throw me over the cliff, if you like," said the father. "But save this good wood coffin. Your children might need to use it." Moving mind. Two men were arguing about a flag flapping in the wind. "It is the wind that is really moving," said the first one. "No, it's the flag that is moving," contended the second. A Zen master, who had happened to be walking by, overheard the debate and interrupted them. "Neither the flag nor the wind is moving," he said. "It is the mind that moves." It will pass. A student went to his meditation teacher and said, "My meditation is horrible. I feel so distracted, or my legs ache, or I'm constantly falling asleep. It's just horrible." "It will pass," the teacher said matter-of-factly. A week later, the student came back to his teacher. "My meditation is wonderful. I feel so aware, so peaceful, so alive. It's just wonderful." "It will pass," the teacher replied matter-of-factly. Cliffhanger. One day, while walking through the wilderness, a man stumbled upon a vicious tiger. He ran, but soon came to the edge of a high cliff. Desperate to save himself, he climbed down a vine and dangled over the fatal precipice. As he hung there, 2 mice appeared from a hole in the cliff and began gnawing on the vine. Suddenly, he noticed on the vine a plump wild strawberry. He plucked it and popped it in his mouth. It was incredibly delicious. That concludes our stories for today. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to hear more, or if you would like to share your interpretations of the stories I read to you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great week ahead of you. Until next time, take care and be safe.